I never expected our anniversary dinner to end with me discovering betrayal. 5 years together with Ryan, and I thought I knew everything about him. We met in college, both finance majors with big dreams of making it in New York. After graduation, we moved to a small apartment in Brooklyn, promising to build our lives together. That night, we were at 11 Madison Park, a splurge we'd been saving for. Ryan looked handsome in his navy suit, but seemed distracted, constantly checking his phone. I didn't think much of it. His investment firm had been going through some restructuring, and stress was normal. To us, I said, raising my glass of champagne. 5 years of us against the world. Ryan smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. To us. The waiter brought our appetizers, and I decided to check our joint savings account. We were planning to put a down payment on a condo next month, and I wanted to see if Ryan's bonus had cleared. My blood ran cold. Where there should have been $87,000, our combined savings from 3 years of aggressive saving, there was $1,237.42. Ryan, I whispered, turning my phone toward him. What happened to our account? His face drained of color. Emma, I can explain. But his explanation was worse than I could have imagined. He'd taken our savings, without discussing it with me, and invested everything in a cryptocurrency venture that a colleague had assured him was guaranteed. The investment had collapsed spectacularly 3 days ago. I was trying to double it before telling you, he stammered. I thought I could fix it before tonight. My hands trembled as I set down my fork. 3 years of savings, our future. And you didn't think to discuss this with me? I was doing it for us, he insisted. For our future. No, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. You did it for yourself, for the thrill. You gambled with our future without even consulting me. We sat in silence for a moment. The restaurant's ambient noise suddenly too loud. I need some air, I finally said, standing up. Outside, leaning against the building's stone facade, I made a decision. I wouldn't leave Ryan, not yet anyway, but I would never again trust him with my financial security. The next morning, while Ryan was in the shower, I opened my laptop and created a new investment account, one he would never know about. I transferred my personal emergency fund, $7,500 I'd kept separate from our joint finances, into it. This would be my secret portfolio, my safety net, my revenge in a way. I'd always been more cautious than Ryan, more methodical in my approach to investing. He chased the exciting opportunities, the potential unicorns. I preferred steady growth, researched companies, and patient strategies. Now I would put my methods to the test, without his knowledge or interference. At work that day, during my lunch break, I researched for hours. I wasn't looking for quick wins. I wanted sustainable growth. I identified 3 companies in the renewable energy sector that were undervalued, but had strong fundamentals. I split my initial investment across them, then set up an automatic transfer from my personal checking account, $400 a month that Ryan wouldn't notice missing from my discretionary spending. What are you doing? Asked Mia, my coworker, peering over my shoulder. Taking control, I replied, closing the browser window. Over the next few months, I lived 2 lives. In one, I was working with Ryan to rebuild our joint savings, accepting his apologies and promises to be more transparent. In the other, I was meticulously growing my secret portfolio, staying up late to research market trends, and learning everything I could about investing strategies. My portfolio grew slowly at first. I diversified cautiously: index funds, blue-chip stocks, and a few calculated risks in emerging technologies. 6 months in, my initial $7,500 had grown to $9,200. Not spectacular, but steady. Meanwhile, our joint account had barely reached $12,000, with Ryan constantly suggesting opportunities that I firmly rejected. Then came my first big break. One of my renewable energy companies announced a major contract with the federal government. Their stock jumped 32% overnight. I sold half my position, taking profits and reinvesting in a medical technology company I'd been researching for weeks. The guilt of keeping secrets from Ryan occasionally surfaced, especially when he would talk about our future. But then I'd remember sitting in that restaurant, seeing our dreams vanish because of his recklessness. This wasn't just about money anymore. It was about independence, about ensuring I would never again be financially vulnerable because of someone else's decisions. By our 6-year anniversary, a much more modest celebration at a local Italian restaurant. My secret portfolio had reached $24,000. Our joint account held $36,000, with Ryan none the wiser about my separate success. I wore a smile that night that he couldn't quite read, the smile of a woman with a secret power. "What are you thinking about?" he asked, noticing my distant expression. "Just how much can change in a year," I replied, taking a sip of wine and thinking about how much more was about to change. A year and a half after starting my secret portfolio, I received an email that would change everything. One of the medical technology companies I'd invested in was being acquired by a pharmaceutical giant. The buyout offer represented a 215% premium over the current stock price. When the market opened the next day, my $3,800 investment would be worth over $12,000. I nearly screamed in the middle of our apartment. Ryan looked up from his laptop, eyebrows raised. "Good news?" he asked. "Just a friend from college got engaged," I lied, feeling a twinge of guilt that quickly dissolved when I remembered our anniversary dinner. My portfolio hit $47,000 that week. Our joint savings had finally recovered to $70,000, but the progress felt tainted. Every decision was a negotiation, with Ryan constantly pushing for riskier investments that I had to talk him down from. The strain was beginning to show in other areas of our relationship. "You've changed," he told me one night after another argument about finances. "You used to trust me." "I wonder why that is," I replied coolly. The truth was, I had changed. Managing my secret portfolio had awakened something in me, a confidence, a sense of purpose. I'd subscribed to financial journals, joined investment forums, and even started taking advanced financial analysis courses online. My career was accelerating too, as I applied my new knowledge at work, earning a promotion to senior financial analyst. One evening, as I was analyzing quarterly reports, my phone rang. It was Dr. Lakshmi Sen, my former finance professor and mentor. "Emma, how are you? I'm calling because there's an opportunity I think you'd be perfect for." A venture capital firm was looking for someone with my exact skill set, someone who could identify undervalued companies in the sustainable technology sector. The salary was nearly double what I was making, with profit sharing that could be substantial. "Send me your updated resume tonight," Dr. Sen insisted. "They're moving quickly." 3 interviews later, I had the job. The catch? It was in Boston. That night, I sat Ryan down for a conversation I'd been rehearsing for days. "I've been offered an amazing opportunity," I began. His face lit up initially, then fell as I explained the details. "Boston?" he repeated. "But our life is here. Our friends, our condo plans. We could try long distance," I suggested, knowing it was a half-hearted offer. The truth was, I wanted this fresh start. Our relationship had been deteriorating for months, weighed down by financial tension and eroding trust. The job offer felt like permission to finally break free. "This is about the money thing, isn't it?" Ryan said, his voice rising. "It's been almost 2 years, Emma. How long are you going to punish me?" "This isn't punishment," I replied calmly. "This is me choosing my career, something I should have prioritized long ago." The breakup was painful but surprisingly civil. We agreed to sell most of our shared furniture and split the proceeds. Ryan would stay in the apartment until the lease ended. We promised to remain friends, though we both knew that was unlikely. The night before my move to Boston, I finally revealed my secret portfolio to Ryan. Not out of cruelty, but because I wanted him to understand that I'd be okay. More than okay. $68,740, I told him, turning my laptop screen toward him. That's what I built, on my own, while we were rebuilding our joint savings. His face cycled through shock, anger, and finally, a reluctant respect. "Why are you telling me this now?" he asked quietly. "Because I want you to know that what you did, it pushed me to become self-reliant in a way I never would have otherwise. In a strange way, I should thank you." Boston represented a new chapter. I rented a small but modern apartment in Cambridge, walking distance from my new office. My salary jumped to $135,000, with quarterly bonuses based on performance. I transferred my secret portfolio to a new brokerage account, no longer secret, just mine. My new role at the venture capital firm Emerald Partners, was exhilarating. I was responsible for identifying promising startups in renewable energy and sustainable technologies. My cautious, research-heavy approach complemented the more aggressive strategies of my colleagues, creating a balanced portfolio for our clients. 6 months into my new job, I identified a small company developing advanced battery technology that could potentially triple the storage capacity of electric vehicles. After weeks of due diligence and meetings with the founders, I convinced the partners to make a significant investment. When the company announced a breakthrough 3 months later, our firm's stake increased in value by 180%. The Emma effect, my boss called it at our quarterly meeting, projecting a graph of our returns since my arrival. Consistent outperformance with lower volatility. My personal portfolio continued to grow as well, now over $120,000, and accelerating as I applied my professional insights to my personal investments. I was putting away nearly 40% of my income, living comfortably but well below my means. Dating in Boston was different. I was different. I was transparent about my financial independence from the beginning, weeding out men who felt threatened by it. I dated casually, prioritizing my career and financial goals over serious relationships. Then I met Nathan, a civil engineer specializing in sustainable infrastructure. Our first date lasted 5 hours, moving from coffee to dinner to late-night drinks. He was brilliant, passionate about his work, and refreshingly straightforward about money. My parents lost everything in 2008, he told me over dinner on our third date. It taught me to be careful, to build security before luxury. For the first time since Ryan, I felt a connection that wasn't complicated by financial incompatibility. Nathan and I began seeing each other regularly, our relationship developing alongside my growing success at work. 2 years after moving to Boston, my personal portfolio crossed the $250,000 mark. The Emma effect had earned me a partnership offer at Emerald, increasing my compensation package to include equity in the firm. Nathan and I had moved in together, maintaining separate finances but planning a future with aligned goals. One evening, scrolling through social media, I saw that Ryan had posted photos of his engagement to a woman I didn't recognize. They looked happy, standing on a beach at sunset. I felt a surprising lack of emotion. Neither jealousy nor regret. Just a distant appreciation for the journey that had led me here. I closed my laptop and joined Nathan on the balcony of our apartment, overlooking the Charles River. The sun was setting, painting the water with streaks of gold and pink. "Penny for your thoughts?" he asked, handing me a glass of wine. I smiled, thinking about the woman I'd become since that devastating anniversary dinner 4 years ago. "I'm just grateful," I said, "for lessons learned the hard way." 5 years to the day after discovering Ryan's betrayal, I stood in the lobby of a gleaming tower in downtown Boston, preparing to give the most important presentation of my career. Emerald Partners was launching a new fund focused exclusively on climate resilience technologies. And as the newly appointed managing director, I was pitching to a room of potential investors with combined assets of over $30 billion. My personal portfolio had grown to just over $1.2 million, a combination of smart investments, compound growth, and significant contributions from my increased income. Nathan and I had purchased a beautiful brownstone in Beacon Hill, renovating it with sustainable materials and energy-efficient systems. Our relationship had deepened into a partnership of equals, both financially and emotionally. "Ms. Harlow, they're ready for you," the receptionist announced, gesturing toward the conference room. I smoothed my charcoal suit, checked my reflection in my phone, and took a deep breath. The Emma who had cried in a restaurant 5 years ago seemed like a different person entirely. Someone I remembered with compassion, but no longer recognized as myself. The presentation went flawlessly. I outlined our investment thesis, highlighting the market opportunities and technologies addressing climate adaptation, water scarcity, and resilient infrastructure. I presented case studies of our previous successful investments, including the battery technology company that had since gone public at a valuation of $4.2 billion. "We're not just offering financial returns," I concluded. "We're creating a portfolio that aligns profit with purpose, investing in the companies that will help humanity navigate our greatest challenges." By the end of the day, we had secured commitments for $380 million. Nearly double our initial target. My phone buzzed constantly with congratulatory messages from colleagues and partners. The last text was from Nathan. Dinner reservation at 8. Champagne already ordered. So proud of you. As I was gathering my materials, my assistant appeared at the door. There's someone here to see you, she said, looking slightly confused. He says he's an old friend. I stepped into the reception area and froze. Ryan stood there, looking older, but still recognizable in an expensive suit, holding a leather portfolio. Emma, he said, his voice a mix of confidence and uncertainty. You look successful. Ryan, I replied, finding my composure. This is unexpected. What brings you to Boston? He explained that his firm had sent him to meet with potential clients, and he'd heard about my fund launch through industry news. I thought I'd stop by to congratulate you in person. I invited him to the small seating area in the corner of the reception. 5 years ago, I would have been a mess of emotions, anger, hurt, vindication. Now I felt only a calm curiosity. I followed your career from a distance, he admitted. The Emma effect is legendary in certain circles. I smiled politely. And you? I saw you got married. Divorced, actually, he said with a grimace. Turns out I hadn't learned my lesson about financial transparency. The conversation flowed surprisingly easily. Two finance professionals discussing market trends and industry gossip. There was no tension, no rekindling of old feelings, just the comfortable familiarity of shared history. I have to ask, he said finally. That portfolio you showed me the night before you left, how did it turn out? I considered deflecting, but decided on honesty. It's grown considerably. That crisis became the foundation for everything I've built since. He nodded slowly. I've thought about that night many times. How different things might have been if I hadn't made that stupid decision with our savings. I've thought about it too, I replied. And the truth is, I should thank you. His eyebrows shot up in surprise. That betrayal forced me to take control of my financial life in a way I might never have otherwise. It pushed me to develop skills I didn't know I had, to trust my own judgment above anyone else's. In a strange way, losing our savings was the best thing that ever happened to me. Ryan looked stunned, then let out a soft laugh. Well, that's one way to look at it. As we parted ways, he hesitated, then asked, Are you happy, Emma? Not just successful, but happy. I thought about my life now, the challenging work that fulfilled me, the relationship built on mutual respect and shared values, the security I'd created for myself, and the impact my fund would have on technologies addressing real global problems. I am, I said simply. Are you? He gave a non-committal shrug, getting there. Your story is inspiring, actually. Maybe there's a lesson in it for me, too. That evening, as Nathan and I celebrated with champagne on the rooftop deck of our home, I recounted my unexpected reunion with Ryan. Did it give you closure? Nathan asked, refilling our glasses. I looked out at the Boston skyline, lights twinkling against the darkening sky. I think I found closure long ago without realizing it. Today was just confirmation. Later that night, I opened my laptop to check the final fundraising numbers for the new fund. An email notification appeared, a financial news alert featuring an interview with me about the fund launch. The headline read, The Emma Effect, How Emma Harlow is Redefining Impact Investing. Below it was a photo of me at the podium, looking confident and commanding. I stared at that image for a long moment, thinking about the woman who had discovered an empty bank account 5 years ago. She could never have imagined this future, this strength, this independence. My phone buzzed with a text from my mother. Just saw the article. So proud of you, honey. You've always been unstoppable once you set your mind to something. I smiled, thinking about the journey. From betrayal to growth to victory. Not just financial victory, but the deeper win of becoming someone who would never again be financially vulnerable because of someone else's choices. The secret portfolio that began as an act of self-preservation had evolved into something far more significant. It had become the foundation for a life of purpose, impact, and true independence. As I closed my laptop and joined Nathan in bed, I thought about all the women who might find themselves in similar situations, trusting partners with their financial security, only to have that trust betrayed. I made a mental note to start a mentorship program through the firm, specifically focused on helping women develop financial independence. That would be my next victory. Not just winning for myself, but helping others find their own path to financial empowerment. The ultimate revenge against financial betrayal wasn't just personal success. It was creating a legacy that would help others avoid the same pain. The betrayal at that anniversary dinner hadn't defined me, but my response to it had, and that response had created a life beyond anything I could have imagined while sitting there, staring at an empty bank account 5 years ago.